All right. Welcome back to Black Bear News. We are live on Rockfin and YouTube. Rockfin is at rokfin.com. Please come join me on Rockfin. Leave a comment. Excuse me. Like to get more people on Rockfin. You can sign up for an account for free, and if you become a paid member, that helps me make a little more money on Rockfin. So that's one way to support me. Patreon, to all the Patreon people, thank you for supporting me on Patreon. I've kind of reconfigured how I'm doing videos right now. So what I was doing a live video and uploading segments of that live video, and I was posting the live video on Patreon. Now I'm just letting the live videos stay live or go live. So there isn't a lot of extra content right now on Patreon. Stick with me. I'll try and make some extra content for Patreon, or I may go back to the other way that I was doing it. I don't know yet. But just I realize that I'm not. There's no different content right now for me to post on Patreon. So please just write it out with me. I'm kind of deciding which way to go. But one of the ways that you can support me is by signing up for it's like $10 a month for Rockfin. I don't know if maybe that's a lot for people, but you get all the other channels, Jimmy Dore, Kim Iverson, Convo Cow. I mean, there are so many channels on Rockfin. Good channels on Rockfin. And you can help, if you are a paid member, you kind of help support me on Rockfin as well. So thank you guys. Anyways, that's enough of that. Peggy Gravel, what's up? Urban Hermit, what's up? Osama number 5, what's up? Hello all. Ooh, that's interesting, Irk1. I like that. Maybe I'll, I don't know if I have time for it. I'm only going to cover a couple things today for this particular video. But maybe I'll cover that tomorrow. That looks good. What's up, Rockfiners, Rockfiners, Rock Miners, Rock Finers, Urban Hermit, Snake 1974. He says, I'm here. Osama, Ryan Gorman. What's going on, guys? Thank y'all for hanging out with me on Rockfin. We got 45 watching, 15 likes on YouTube. Please like it up. Anyways, let's get into some things. Saw this tweet. This morning from Steve Westlake. And this is I saw this graph and I was like, hey, or chart, whatever you want. I thought this was quite interesting, and I was like, hey, I want to talk about this because this is really important. It's an important part of the conversation. Again, climate change is a complicated and nuanced subject. There are a lot of moving parts. And I know some people want to really, zero in on population. It's all population. I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe not. Maybe so. But I think it's a combination of things. It's a combination of population, part of the problem, not the only problem. Clearly, if we had less people on the planet, we would be using less things, using less resources. But the reality, too, is that, and I believe this is a global chart or global report. If you can see here, it's very simple to see the top 1% emits a lot of carbon. This is from 2015. But this is from the Emissions Gap Report 2020. The bottom. So this is the percentage, I guess, of, or no, average per capita emissions. Tons of CO2 per capita. So top 1% per capita, 75%, 70 tons of CO2. Top 10%, something in the range of 25 tons. Middle 40%, about, what is that, 5 or 8. Bottom 50%. Very little. So very few people, a small number of people make up a lot of emissions. But this is per capita, right? So if you have the bottom 50% would be in the billions, right? So if you add all the bottom 50% per capita together, how many, what do you get, right? So what you have is you have a few people emitting a ton of carbon, and you have a ton of people emitting a little bit of carbon, which adds up to a lot of carbon, right? So I think it's not a case of either or, it's a case of and, right? Wealthy people are screwing up the planet. Hand over fist, they are leading the charge. Wealthy people are responsible and guilty of absolutely destroying the planet as fast as they possibly can, and they do it because they have the money to do it, and because they're entitled to do it, and they think because we can, we will. We don't think twice about it, we just do it because we've earned it. These people are doing a lot of damage. But, if you have billions and billions and billions of people also emitting, so look at, this is the middle 40%. If you have a lot of people emitting a fair amount of carbon, then you get a lot of carbon too, right? So it's and. Rich people are screwing up the planet, and a whole lot of people are using a whole lot of resources, or some resources, but a whole lot of people using some resources adds up to a whole lot of resources, right? And both of those things can be true at once. So this is just interesting. So here's the percentage, and so the global average per capita consumption emissions. Oh, this is the target. The target. So I don't know what is the consumption emissions right now, I wonder. Target by 2030 for 1.5 C is 2.1 tons per person. Well, you see that the very, very wealthy, and even the not very wealthy, the middle of the rotors, you see, this is very important to understand. The middle of the rotors, the middle class, if you will, the, regular people, and or the, actually probably the people on the bottom of the rung, even in wealthy nations, are probably would be included in the middle 40. They got to come down over half, right? Because they're emitting, we're going to call this 5 or maybe 6 tons a year. They got to come down to 2.1. And this goes kind of in line with the graph I always show. Been showing a lot about people in India, the people of India emitting less or using less resources than the rest of the planet per, on average, right? So everybody in India averaged out, they use less than one Earth worth of resources. But of course, the people in India, many people in India are living with very, 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 very little. So even the middle of the roaders, even the middle 40% have to come down by over half. These guys got to come way down. Again, that kind of goes back to the discussion of what's more important, a minimum wage or a maximum wage. I would say the more important than a minimum wage would be a minimum, making sure people had a minimum amount or allowance of food and or housing and or medical care, right? So we should be trying to figure out what it takes for every person to be alive, food wise, and how, obviously everybody needs shelter. No person should be without shelter unless they want to be. There are plenty of people who don't want to have shelter or are not into it, so that's fine. But, plenty of people need shelter. Plenty of people need food. What would it take to house and feed people who need those resources and to give them medical care? I can tell you probably not a lot. So we should be figuring out what the bare minimum for that is and giving everybody that. And then on top of all that, we should be having a cap on income. I know it sounds really weird. Or maybe just a heavy tax, which is like, do what you're going to do, but if you make over 100 grand, and I even think 100 grand is too much money. 100 grand is, you could live in any major city in America on 100 grand, and you'd be okay. You'd be definitely okay. So nobody would be starving on 100 grand. And you'd probably be using a whole lot of resources. 100 grand would let you live in any major city in the country, 100 grand a year, and probably have enough money to like take a few vacations or plane flights. And even that is probably too much. 100 grand is probably too much. Probably, if we really want to be serious about climate change, if we really want to be serious about getting people under that 2.1 CO2 emissions target for 2030 is, by my clock, really soon. It's 10 years from now. I think a bigger conversation would be a maximum wage, which a few intrepid viewers of the channel have brought up in the past, and I really like that idea. Maximum wage, if we really want to get serious, 50 grand. If you're making over 50 grand, you don't need more than 50 grand to live and, to eat food and have a home. You don't need more than 50 grand. So yeah. We really got to talk about immediate wealth confiscation. And I know that sounds, it's very communistic. But if we're talking about saving the planet, and, beyond even saving the planet, which is the most important thing, which is the only thing we should be worried about, if we really want equity for people, if we want people to, saving the planet goes hand in hand with people having clean air to breathe and clean water to drink, and unspoiled lands to live on. So that, that would happen fairly quickly too if people didn't have the money to go out and destroy the planet. And the other thing is that if you, confiscated that wealth, we'll call it taxation to be nice. But, if you taxed that wealth at 100%, 100% above 100 grand, we're being super generous now. 100% above 100 grand, you would have the money you'd have more than enough money. You'd have more than enough money to allow people to have food and shelter. And that would be equitable for everyone. And, that's not, that won't be on the platform of any People's Party or Progressive Party or Justice Democrats, or that wouldn't be in the platform of even the most progressive parties. But on the Black Bear Party platform, the hyper climate aware political platform, that would be one of the major planks of the platform would be wealth taxation above 100 grand just to start with. Anybody making above 100 grand, that's it. That's the top. If you can't live on that, you're doing something wrong. Too bad. And any excess that you need above 100 grand is most likely killing the planet, most likely unessential, most likely superfluous. So let's start with that, and then let's give everybody what they need in order to live. Sound good? Let's go. There's another graph I wanted to look at here. Yeah, you won't hear that radical ass idea talked about on any other channel. Most likely, because everybody, even the channels, even other channels that want to talk about carbon credits, or I don't know, or maybe don't want to talk about it at all. Don't want to talk about solutions at all. Even the, I don't know, there was some citizens assembly kind of thing going on in France. I think somewhat modeled on the XR, or somewhat in line with the XR idea that there would be a citizens assembly. Their proposals were weak sauce, were weak as F, or weak AF if you want to do it like that. Yeah, their proposals were just super tepid, right? Super like, oh, we're gonna tax wealthy at 3%, build some renewables, set a net zero target of blah blah blah. Like, they were just so limp-wristed and nothing. They were nothing. So we got to do something a little bit better than that. And by a little bit, I mean a whole lot. So let's look at greenhouse gas emissions by country over the last 30 years. China, woo, boom. USA, fairly flat. EU going down a little bit, but of course, going down, they offshored some of their emissions productions, no doubt. India going up. Russia staying flat. Japan staying flat. And let's look at per capita emissions by country. U.S. going down. That's a positive. We'll give it up for the U.S. of A for doing that. Again, was that a product of offshoring emissions? Why did that happen? We don't know. Russia went way down through their economic downturn after they collapsed, and then now they're on their way back up. They're going back up. China going up. India going up, steadily rising. Globally going up very incrementally. And the EU going down as well. Japan staying about level. Yeah, so this is the UN Emissions Gap Report 2020. It's fairly long. It's a big thing. If you want to go look at it, just look it up. unenvironment.org. I'm not going to go deeper into it today. I may go deeper into it in the future. I just, I think that graph gives you a lot to talk about, or gave me a lot to talk about. So Let's just read a quick summary. What's new in this year's report? The report finds that despite a brief dip in carbon dioxide emissions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, the world is still heading for a temperature rise in excess of 3°C this century. Well, so they got to give you the soft pillow. They wouldn't dare say 3°C before 2050 or even 2040. Far beyond the Paris Agreement goals of limiting global warming to well below. They got to use that word, well below. Look, we're well below right now, and we're going to go up. Well below means where we are at right now, and that's not even a truthful assessment of where we are at right now. So in the sanitized, propagandized, somewhat suppressed version of the news or reality, where we are at is not where we are at. We are above, it's much worse than they are telling you. We're above where they say we are, which is anywhere between 0.9 and 1.1. We are not at 1.1. We are above 1.1. I don't know exactly where. There are so many differing opinions on it. But we're supposed to stay at 1.5 and somehow well below 2°C. And again, the World Meteorological Organization said that we were going to hit 1.5 in the next 4 years. That was from this year. So they're already kind of letting on that we're past the 1.5 pretty soon, if not already. However, a low carbon pandemic recovery could cut 25% off the greenhouse emissions expected in 2030. 25%? Whoa. Could, being the operative word. Based on policies in place before COVID-19, such a recovery would far outstrip having foreseen with the implementation of unconditional nationally determined contributions. Unconditional meaning they're just doing it on their own. Nobody's holding anybody's feet to the fire under the Paris Agreement, and put the world close to the 2°C pathway. The report also analyzes low carbon recovery measures so far, summarizes the scale of new net zero emissions pledges by nations, and looks at the potential of the lifestyle, aviation, and shipping sectors to bridge the gap. Oh, I love those words. All the good words, the really nice words, bridging the gap. Well below. All those things, those nice words that don't scare the children. Can't scare the children because they might actually demand that things change a lot faster than we'd like them to, which is, we want to do it on our timeline. We want to do it as slow as possible. We still got money to make, guys. We know we're probably over the falls anyways, so we're going to keep this system going. And fie on you if you talk about the need for possibly doing away with the entire system we have and bringing in a radically different one. What's up, Black Bear Links with Muzza? Good to see you. Let's see. We got 84 watching, 36 likes. Please like up the video. Got some folks on Rockfin. What's up? Poppy Davis says Consumption Junction. Good to see you all on Rockfin. Thank you for hanging out with me on the Rockfin. Poppy Davis says lots of nice words for a whole lot of nada. Violent Hippie says they're going to milk this monkey until it's dead. I don't know why that's funny, but it is. They're out there milking the monkey. Oh, yeah. Environmental coffee houses bridging jack shit. Exactly. Jin Jin Pi Gamma. Excellent. Stop war. Lots of carbon savings. Exactly. Yeah, you might get a lot of carbon savings there if you stopped war. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Nah. Okay, well, I'm going to look at one more thing, guys, and this is something we kind of just talked about. We have been talking about this. Try to bring this up whenever I can, and this goes in line with the idea that these wonderful emissions goals that these countries are meeting, the EU and the US. We're lowering emissions, guys. We're bringing that. Well, you are lowering emissions, but you are outsourcing, externalizing, offshoring the emissions somewhere else so you can do your lovely, lovely accounting. This is from PFD Earth. In response to Ben C. saying, how many economists know that 50% of Earth's animal and plant species, which humans rely on for decent survival, now face extinction within decades due to the destructive activities of industrial capitalism? How many economists know this? I don't know. Was Ben C. replying to something else, I wonder? No, he just saying that out of the blue. How many people, just people in general, how many people understand this? I'm going to say it, not a lot. And even if they do, they don't want to. They want to enjoy themselves. Because thinking about this kind of stuff is just really uncomfortable and makes me kind of depressed, and I just don't want to be that way. I got to be positive. And I got to keep on being positive and, manifest, the abundance of the universe and the abundance of the everything, where I'm just going to, I'm manifesting, bro. That's how we're doing it over here. Yeah. Meanwhile, in reality, humans are manifesting a whole lot of bullshit. That's reality. So you can either live in reality or you can live in spiritual manifestation land, which is really easy to do when you live in the wealthiest country of the world. And even if you're just middle class, you're way up on the list of carbon emitters. You're way up on the list of consumers. Anyways, since 2000, the world has doubled its coal-fired power capacity to around 2,045 gigawatts after explosive growth in China and India. A further 200 gigawatts is being built and 300 gigawatts is planned. Good God. So we have doubled. For people who are unclear on the concept, for people who are really mad at Michael Moore for making that bad movie, Planet of the Humans, that eco-fascist, eugenicist movie, Planet of the Humans, for people who are unclear on the concept, we have doubled coal-fired power in the last 20 years, and we are building more. We are not going down. We are going up. Meanwhile, everybody's like, yeah, net zero, bro. It's cool. We're doing some net zero stuff in like 2030 or 2035 or like 2050 or 2060. Dude, everybody is on the net zero tip. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not. We are not. That's just reality. So, But anyways, you know what? I've reached the end of my time. Maybe I'll look at this article more in depth tomorrow. I mean, there's really not a point to it. We've already covered this stuff, but it's fine. We'll look at it again tomorrow. But that's just leaving you with the reality reality, the things that happen in the real world, which cannot be dispelled just because you want to, right? All right. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good day. Peace.